Welcome back to Building Character, where we figure out how to play as your favorite fictional characters in Dungeons & Dragons. Remember to like and subscribe for more intense stares next time you play. Maybe. Today we're building Ghost Rider, a moniker that has fallen on a number of different people over the years, but always comes with the same abilities: chains, flaming skulls, sweet rides, and judgmental gazes. As long as you get these, it doesn't matter if you're Johnny Blaze or Sarah Inferno Face, you're still the rider.
So you want to be a player, but your wheels ain't flying. You gotta hit us up to get a pimped out ride.
Let's kick things off with some goals for this build. First, we need to be a ghost, so dead person resurrected by the devil and set on fire, which is actually pretty easy in D&D. Next, we need to be a rider, and that will actually take a bit, but you get some options, which is nice. Finally, we'll make sure that we can kill people just by looking at them. For stats, we're using the standard point array from the player's handbook. Roll for stats if you want, just make sure you've got charisma and strength. Charisma is number 1. You're so hard to look at that it actually loops back around and becomes an asset. Dexterity next. This is what keeps you on your mount, so you need to be able to move pretty well for a person wrapped in leather. Strength will follow. Riders typically have super strength. Constitution after that. What is dead may never die. Shoot, that's the wrong franchise. Still accurate. Intelligence is a little lower, we just don't need it, and we'll dump wisdom. You sold your soul to the devil. That's a textbook lack of character reading. If you like Ghost Rider, Gothic heroes are probably up your alley, which is why we're going with the Revenant for our race. It's from the Gothic Heroes Unearthed Arcana. This is a sub-race for all races. Death is a great common denominator after all. Basing it off of a human, you get +1 constitution and +2 points for other stats. Go for strength and charisma. Revenants have a relentless nature, something pushing them forward given to you by the DM. Because of this, you can recover 1 HP every turn you're below half health. If you die, you come back in 24 hours, and can sense the distance and direction of any creature related to your goal as long as they're on the same plane. If they're not, that probably means mission accomplished, so good news. Build your own background for athletics and insight proficiencies. Believe it or not, there isn't a stunt person turned Satan's bounty hunter background. Funny. Oh, and obviously grab ground vehicle proficiencies. Did you know that paladins don't actually have to worship the nice deities? It's true, and it's also the only way to make a Ghost Rider build work. Pick whichever evil devil god that brought you back to life and grab 2 skills from the paladin list like religion and intimidation. First level paladins get lay on hands, giving you a pool of healing equal to 5 times your paladin level, not really up your alley. Divine sense lets you determine if there are any celestials, fiends, or undead within 60 feet of you, an amount of times equal to your charisma modifier per long rest. Your targets tend to be the souls the devil wants back, so find them and bring them in. For your weapon of choice, you have access to all weapons, martial and simple. A whip has a 10-foot reach, it's finesse, so you can use your dex if you want, and it deals 1d4 damage. It's not good, but we can add some oomph to it in a second. Second level paladins get a fighting style. Dueling adds 2 to your attacks with a one-handed weapon. This level is all about turning that whip into something useful. You can also cast spells. Divine Favor wraps your weapon in divine energy, adding 1d4 radiant damage on a hit for up to a minute, depending on your concentration. This should hurt those wicked foes a little bit more, which is your whole job. If you want to add extra radiant damage, try Divine Smite for another 2d8 radiant damage on an attack by using a spell slot. Third level paladins get divine health, making you immune to disease. You can also choose an oath, or in your case, break one. Oathbreaker paladins are paladins that abandoned their god and signed up with someone evil instead. But you signed up with someone evil already, so you can learn some special spells. Inflict Wounds is a melee spell attack that deals 3d10 necrotic damage, and that's it. Doesn't really do anything else. It's pretty simple, but it's nice to deal some damage. You can also channel divinity once per long rest. Control Undead lets you force a wisdom save on an undead creature that's challenge rating is less than your level. If they fail, they obey your commands for 24 hours. Nobody wants to go back to hell. Or you could use the Dreadful Aspect, forcing creatures of your choice within 30 feet of you to make a wisdom save, frightening them for 1 minute. They can re-roll the save if they move out of range. Flaming Skull is intimidating. Who knew? 4th level paladins can grab a feat. The Menacing Feat from the Feats for Skills Unearthed Arcana gives you +1 charisma. It lets you double your proficiency bonus for intimidation checks, and you can use an action to make an intimidation contest against an enemy's insight skill. If you win, they are frightened for 1 round. Remember 5 seconds ago when I said you had expertise in intimidation? Yeah, you're probably going to win this. 5th level paladins get an extra attack, meaning you make 2 attacks instead of 1 as an action, but that's actually not the most important thing at this level, as you can learn 2nd level spells like Find Steed. Now this takes 10 minutes, but it summons a warhorse, a pony, a camel, elk, or a mastiff. That creature gets an intelligence of 6, and you control their actions, and you can make spells that only target you, target your mount as well. Pick whichever mount you want. I'm personally really into elk or camel rider, but keep in mind that the mount has to be at least 1 size larger than you, so mastiff and pony wouldn't work. Oh, and it can be a fiend, fey, or celestial. Obviously fiend is the right option. Bouncing over to Warlock now for your Pact. Fiends are devils, and you signed on the dotted line. Get Dark One's Blessing, which lets you give yourself an amount of temporary HP equal to your Charisma modifier and your Warlock level when you drop an enemy to 0 hit points. You can also grab spells from the Fiend list. Burning Hands forces a dex save of 8 plus your Charisma modifier and your proficiency bonus, dealing 3d6 fire damage to those that fail it in a 15-foot cone, half to those that succeed. Hellish Rebuke deals 2d10 fire damage as a reaction to creatures that hit you with an attack. If they fail a dex save, half if they succeed. Your whole body is on fire. Who would think hitting you is a good idea? For cantrips, I'm never going to build a Warlock without Eldritch Blast. It's a ranged spell attack that deals 1d10 force damage. You can shoot 2 of these beams at this level. It goes up to 4 by the end. We're also going to buff this a bunch later to turn it into a true hell chain. Forget that whip. For your other cantrips, Create Bonfire creates a 5-foot cube of fire that forces a dexterity save and deals 2d8 fire damage to those that fail. You can also use it for camping. We're also multi-classing casters here, and Warlock makes this easier or harder, depending on who you ask. Basically, you have all the same slots you would get from leveling up in Warlock or Paladin individually, but can use slots from Warlock to cast Paladin spells and vice versa. I personally think it's not that complicated, but head to the multi-classing page of the player's handbook if you need a more detailed explanation. Second level Warlocks get Invocations, and let's buff that chain. Agonizing Blast adds your Charisma modifier to the damage of your Eldritch Blasts. Grasp of Hadar pulls enemies 10 feet closer to you once per round. Specifying this because remember, you have multiple blasts. Third level Warlocks get a Pact boon, and the Pact of the Chain actually has nothing to do with chains. It's animals, which is basically playing a druid. Gross. The Pact of the Blade lets you summon weapons as an action. Honestly, Eldritch Blast is better unless you're right up close, so just use that. But in case someone wants to go closer with the Devil Fire dude, you're proficient with any weapon you summon, so dealer's choice. You can also learn second level spells, and Fiend Warlocks can learn Scorching Ray. This creates 3 small balls of fire. They're ranged spell attacks that deal 2d6 fire damage each. You can go for multiple targets or just one, that's up to you. There's also Hold Person, which forces a wisdom save on a humanoid. Failing that, they're paralyzed for up to a minute depending on your concentration. Wrap them up with the chain and then roast them with fire. It's a classic rider combo. Fourth level Warlocks can grab another feat. Take the Mounted Combatant feat. While mounted, this gives you advantage on attack rolls against creatures that are smaller than your mount, so medium or smaller. You can take hits for your mount, and your mount takes half damage on failed dex saves and no damage on successful ones. Considering the most HP your mount can have is 19 with a warhorse, you really need to work on keeping that thing you're riding safe. This goes a long way towards that. For this level spell, Spider Climb lets a creature you touch move up walls and on ceilings for up to an hour, so your mount can go straight up a building. Fifth level Warlocks can grab another Invocation. Devil's Sight gives you 120 feet of the best dark vision your soul can buy, even permeating magical darkness. You can also learn third level spells. Fireball forces a dexterity save on creatures in a 20-foot radius, dealing 8d6 fire damage to those that fail. Hopefully the other party members got out of the way, but if not, there's a reason you tend to work alone. Sixth level Fiend Warlocks get Dark One's Own Luck, letting you add 1d10 to an ability check or saving throw once per long rest. Use this when you think you're close, don't waste it if you think you're way off. 7th level Warlocks can learn 4th level spells. Banishment forces a charisma save on a creature and sends them to a harmless demi-plane for a minute, or back to their home plane if they're not from around here. If you keep it up for the whole minute, they stay in their home plane or pop back to the space they were in if this is their main plane. You can also grab another Invocation. Armor of Shadows lets you cast Major Armor at will, making your AC 13 plus your Dex modifier. Leather Armor is okay, but Fire Leather Armor is cooler. 8th level Warlock get an ability score improvement, round up your Charisma and Constitution for better spells and concentration. 9th level Warlocks can learn 5th level spells. Hold Monster works like Hold Person without the humanoid restriction, so even bigger foes can get wrapped up by your chains. Speaking of your chains, buff your Eldritch Blast even further with the Invocation Lance of Lethargy, letting you reduce target's movement speed by 10 feet when you hit them with one of your beams. This is also only once per round, but it's still pretty good. 10th level Fiend Warlocks get Fiendish Resilience, letting you pick a type of damage to resist once per day. Now, this can be ignored by magical or silvered weapons, but honestly, I'm more worried about other types of damage like fire or necrotic in your line of work. 11th level Warlocks get a Mystic Arcanum, which is Warlock for grabbing one 6th level spell you can use once per day. Investiture of Flame wraps you in fire, making you immune to fire damage. You resist cold damage. Every creature that moves within 5 feet of you takes 1d10 fire damage, and you can create a 15-foot line of fire that forces a dexterity save, dealing 4d8 damage to those that fail. Remember how you can cast spells that only target you on your mount as well? That's a fire mount and a fire rider. We did it, folks. Mission accomplished. 12th level Warlocks get another ability score improvement. Bump up your charisma for more Eldritch Blast damage and higher spell spell saves. You can also get another invocation. Otherworldly Leap lets you cast Jump on yourself at will, tripling your jump distance, and any found steed's jump distance as well. 13th level Warlocks get a 7th level Mystic Arcanum. Plane Shift lets you and up to 8 friendly creatures move to another plane. You can also make a melee spell attack against a creature, forcing them to make a charisma save or be sent to another plane. They get to figure out how to get home, so send those demons back to hell or any other plane. Really, it's up to you. 14th level Fiend Warlocks get Hurl Through Hell, letting you send a creature you hit with an attack on a tour of the lower planes of hell, making them disappear for 1 round. The next round they return to the space they were in, taking 10d10 psychic damage. This is your Penance Stare, really dealing an insane amount of damage in 1 turn. You can only do this once per long rest, but it's still very good. Our capstone is the 15th level Warlock, giving you an 8th level spell slot from a Mystic Arcanum. Power Word Stun automatically stuns a creature of 150 HP or less, and they're stuck that way until they make a Constitution save on their turn, meaning that they can't take actions or reactions, automatically fail Dex and Strength saves, and attacks against them have advantage. For your last invocation, Witch Sight lets you see the true shape of any shape changer, so no runaway demons are going to be hiding from you. Now that we've hit level 20, let's figure out how good of a build this is. First, you've got amazing movement options with your steed, and various spells to help you and the steed move around. You're also a great caster with a very high modifier and great damage. Finally, you've got plus 17 to your intimidation checks, which means that you can probably intimidate anyone and everyone. For negatives, your mount has low HP. Find Greater Steed is a 4th level Paladin spell, but that would require way more investment into Paladin, which means that we'd miss out on things like Hurl Through Hell and Investiture of Flame. You're also dealing with Warlock slots which are lacking. Sure, you've got a couple lower level slots from Paladin, but you could very easily run out of spells in 1 fight. Finally, your Wisdom is low, and that's one of the most common saving throws in the game. Hold Person and Charm Person are all big issues for you. But you've got Dark One's luck for that. Have your devil bail you out and get back to work. Just make your peace with the fact that not everyone is going to love you for doing your job. Speaking of jobs and doing them, today my job is sponsored by the artist Allison Howell. We talk about building characters here a lot, but commissioned character art is the best way to show your party members what your PC looks like. From individual characters to full parties, Allison will bring your adventurers to life in vivid detail. For more information, send her an email. The link is in the description below. Slots are opening July 1st and fill up fast, so get yours in early and follow her on Twitter at Allison Howell to be ready when they open again. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, subscribe for more. We make 2 videos every week. In honor of the American Independence Day next week, I'm temporarily suspending democracy on the channel, but we'll be back to pulled videos after that. Don't worry, we'll still have videos for a big pile of goo and something even stranger.